first part of the journey, I was tripping around, you see. And then I found some gold in the ground. I got the fever inside me. The first thing I found was a mine with no name. It felt good to be high on the green, 'cause in the mine you can't remember your name. So awesome sauce became the claim. La 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 la. You're mining for gold, but you're doing it all wrong. And I have to tell you now, there's another way. Empire Gold Mining, they can show you how. And we'll even have some fun along the way. We're having fun, mining gold out in the sun. Digging in the dirt is what we do. It's not really hard, don't be a puss, get in your car. Come on out to Vegas today.
For years. My grandfather did mining, and other people of our family in the past have done mining, but aside from just doing a little bit when I was a child, when we were out doing stuff, I haven't done it for a long time until about a year ago, after I got laid off from my last job, and I went out a few times with JR and doing stuff and relearning stuff and learning more stuff.
Now, the thing that I find interesting, you don't pan for gold. If any of us have watched Gold Rush, is it?
Yeah,
with
I think
Todd?
that's the show.
Gold, with Todd Hoffman. I know I got really excited about hunting and panning and for gold in Alaska. That just kind of spurred my excitement. And yet, you guys don't use water per se to find your gold. You find it right here in the desert, right?
Yeah, we use methods like dry washing or dry panning, which is a dry washer it's a machine that blows air through a cloth, which essentially just blows the light material away, leaving the heavies behind.
And the heavies being gold and silver?
Gold, silver, iron, sand, hematite, and other heavy minerals. There could be garnets or gems in there also.
So you don't need water. Gold isn't always found in water. Silver's not always found in water, Kevin?
Well, they're not always found. You're not going to find them. Well, you can find them in water. I can't say it that way, but the gold is in the ground. What you find in the water basically is something that has eroded away from its natural source and has been washed downstream.
Oh.
We do both, like JR says. You can use a dry washer, you can do dry panning, but you can also bring your own water in, or as even we do sometimes, and a lot of other people will do, they'll go digging in an area, and they'll bring back buckets of dirt with them to their home or to someplace else where they have a water supply, and then they can sit and pan it that way, or run it through a sluice to pull the gold out and make it more accessible.
What precious treasures can we find here in Clark County?
Well, it depends on what you call a precious treasure.
Something I can make into jewelry.
Rusty cans are precious treasure to me, though. I've found old steel Coca-Cola cans that I still have displayed on my mantles and stuff, just because.
Coca-Cola can. Oh,
yeah, like an old
okay.
100-year-old Coca-Cola can from the 1800s.
Wow.
So, or say some nails, or an old drill bit that I found out in the desert. They're always old, rusty items that just they have their own character to them. Like one time I found a gas can they'd cut the center out of. I don't know why, but it made a great picture box to display another item that I found out there. So
you're finding everything from antiques to, Kevin was saying, what kind of stuff have you found?
Well, I mean, it could be anything from, like you said, the old, railroad spikes or anything like that. You can find, any kind of old metal objects or something like that, something that hasn't deteriorated. But on the flip side of that, like you said, we do find the silver, we find the gold down here in the Clark County. You'll find more silver than gold. When you get a little further north in the state, you can find more gold. But on top of that, there's a lot of quartz that runs through everything, and with the quartz, you can actually find quartz crystals, these smoky quartz crystals. Um, you can find the garnets. There are other stones that are out there also. It's a matter of learning what. Sometimes these beautiful stones don't look as beautiful out there when you find them in the rough and covered in dirt. So sometimes you have to learn what you're looking for. Other times it just pops right out at you.
Well, historically, Nevada's called the Silver State
Right.
because
Yep.
silver is so prevalent in our state. But at one point in time, the most gold that was being found in Nevada.
Actually, still is. You get actually 76% of all the gold, I think it is, for the whole world comes out of Nevada.
You're kidding me.
No.
76%.
Yeah.
I know that we.
And that's actually due to areas like up north in Carlin Trent and areas out by Ely and Osceola.
Well, my girlfriend was super intrigued. A friend of mine, Barbara Berg. Hi. Lives up north, Loveless, I think she is, and she remembers as a child a huge gold nugget being displayed in a drugstore, and she thought it weighed somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 pounds. And I think the story that she recalled, Jr., you might remember, didn't she say the guy was walking through his field and kicked it or something?
Yeah, that's what she posted.
And
Well, there was. I know that was how the one in Australia that's posted, that's exhibited down at the Golden Nugget was found. The one up north, I thought he actually dug it up, but I'm not sure on that one either. But I was reading online a little bit about that one from some of the recent posts. So, but it's you never. I mean, gold can be found on the surface, and gold can be found down deep.
Yeah.
I'm just a want to be treasure hunter, gold miner, silver miner. Give me a treasure, I'm just a wannabe. So would I go out and buy a metal detector?
You could do it that way. I mean, that can help depending on which one you buy. There's a lot of them out there, and the technology is constantly improving. I just bought a couple of really old ones that we haven't gone out and tested yet. We'll see how good they work. Some of the less expensive ones, I had somebody that was knowledgeable on the topic said, yeah, that's the kind you buy for your grandkid, and you play around in the backyard with it. But the really good metal detectors run in a few $100s and up. So it's.
Okay, I guess that's not the way you guys find the treasure you're looking for. You don't start with a metal detector.
No, I
JR,
start
how
with
do you start?
geology. I look at the lay of the land, find the plate tectonics where there's two fissures, where usually it's areas of earthquakes and.
So you use a
volcanic.
map or
Yeah,
eyeballs?
usually it starts with a map and the USGS surveys, which will tell you the geology of the area and what type of minerals are found in that area.
Right.
But to find that, you would just go to USGS.com and do a little search and there, and usually it'll show up.
Well, I think that's this is a good point to kind of jump off a little bit because. Interestingly enough, if I had a metal detector or I was using a USGS map to determine where an earthquake fault was, necessarily I can't take my metal detector or my shovel and go dig up matter. What do you call that stuff that you dig up? Dirt.
Yeah,
Okay. What's that stuff you call?
Sometimes we'll say substrate or material.
Okay, material, that's what it
yeah.
is. So you can't just dig up a bucket full of material and take it home with you. Because these mineral rights are actually owned. They're property rights. Miners have property rights.
Yeah.
So all of those people who are out there listening to me, I want to caution you. You cannot just go walk out into the middle of somewhere, use your metal detector or your shovel, because you don't want to impugn someone else's rights. And JR, tell me a little bit about how that works.
Generally, it's pretty easy to tell if you're on somebody's claim because you have to have it posted with wood posts or metal posts or PVC posts of some kind. You have to have your paperwork that documents that where your posts lie and has a little map that shows where it is on that, and it's all been filed through the county.
Yes.
But you can actually put a post up and wait about 3 months before you even send in your paperwork because you're doing prospect work to find out if you're actually going to be able to make a profit off of the land. And if you don't, after 3 months, you can either pull up your stakes or you can leave the stakes in and make your final payments.
What kind of paperwork constitutes an actual mining claim, or what is that about?
The mining claim paper, really there is none. The government doesn't give out any. You have to write it out yourself. But there are a few people that have written some out and given them to government websites so the government can provide them to other people. So you can use, I think you can find that on USGS also. And if not,
miners' claims have to go through the recorder's office, don't they?
First the recorder's office and then the BLM. The recorder's office is around $30, and then the BLM wants around $210. And then that's for every 20 acres of land that you want to post on.
Do you need a business license or anything like that?
Nope, not at all. You just have to be an American citizen with a social security number.
Cool. So essentially, the warning sign, Kevin, would be if I went out to the desert and I saw some.
If you saw a post standing somewhere, that doesn't look like it grew there on its own, then probably somebody erected that post for some reason, and you're probably on a, if not a current claim, at least a past claim.
How do we not impugn a miner's rights but still go out there and enjoy treasure hunting on our own?
Most people, I'll be honest with you, most people, if you're just out there treasure hunting or whatever, as long as you're not, going into an area that looks like someone's been digging in it, if you just go out there and you're just looking for something fun to do for a little while, most people aren't going to have a problem with it. Now, if you see where someone's been doing a dig, now I don't know if you ever watch, was it the Weather Channel that has the show in Colorado where the people go out and dig the gems out of the mountains in Colorado, and they talk about people that are going on their claims and claim jumpers that are pulling gems out of their working mines. They can see that people are working this area and they're going out there and they're doing this on purpose because they know someone else is getting something out of it. But now, if you're just going out there for a one-day excursion to go out and have some fun, most people aren't going to have a problem. But normally, if someone does find you on their claim, the first thing they're going to do is say, hey, what are you doing? This is my land, da-da-da-da-da, move on. But if you want to do it on a more full-time basis, then you would have to go to the BLM website or someplace else. JR knows more about that, but to look up and see if an area is actually posted with a claim on it or not.
I see. What would you do? I bring this up because I happen to have watched a video where your mine had been tampered with by people shooting at it.
Yeah.
What happened there? Tell me. Give the backstory and tell us what happened.
I have no idea who had done it. All I know is that when I got to the claim, there was 5 or 6 attempted bullet holes into my water tank at the bottom of it, which luckily there was water in it, so it had enough back pressure to resist the force of it. But since they couldn't do that, they decided they were going to go and pull my claim stakes out. So they went and they pulled out the claim stakes and then they left.
So what you had to do then was go and restake your claim?
Pretty much just put the post back in the ground, which it's only in about 1.5 feet, so it's not that like it was hard to put in. But
does that happen often out there?
No,
okay.
It's actually a federal offense. So
it's a federal offense to mess with someone's mind.
Yep.
Get out. So the penalties for if you were just me and you saw me with a metal detector and I'm out there just metal detecting away, not seeing your posts, you're going to ask me to leave.
Maybe not though. I might just say, hey, that's a cool toy. I've never used one. You want to show me how to work it? And then we could share something that we find or something.
It's like I said, it depends on who the person is that you come across. Most people don't have a big problem. If you're not turning over soil and digging deep into the ground and doing stuff, most people don't have a big problem with it, as long as there's not a safety issue with you being in the area that they're digging in or something also. But, because most people are pretty amenable to getting to know the person, maybe directing you somewhere else. Maybe they don't want you on their land. And most people, again, will say, hey, this is my claim. If you want to look, you need to go over here. Like anything. There are people who are idiots and other nice words that I could use as well, but I won't on here.
Thank you.
That may jump down your throat and be brash and abrupt about how they handle people, but most people won't unless you're a repeat offender on their claim or something.
So,
Right.
and I'm not hoping to inspire people to jump on people's mining claims or what have you, but I do like the idea of Clark County has some minerals, gemstones, quartz that, you don't think that a city like Las Vegas or a place like Henderson or Boulder City has anything even remotely in tune with treasure.
Yeah.
And yet it is kind of, my dad and I'm from Wisconsin, so my dad used to take me with a little metal detector, and we would go to the beaches and what have you in Wisconsin on the lake. And we would find stupid things. I mean, nothing too pricey or, but old coins and bottle tops. Remember when bottles had bottle tops? Anyway, we would find those, and each one of them for me was a treasure. And a lot of my girlfriends, they're saying, oh, I'm so sick of Wet and Wild. I am so sick of, I want to do something with my kids that's outside, that's exciting. And I said, well, I'm having gold miners on. And it's right, and they're like, oh, well, we don't want to drive all the way up to Virginia City. I'm like, oh, no, hold on. It's right here in town. They're like, what you mean right here in town? I said, well, no, I mean, maybe not, on Tropicana and Boulder Highway, but, right here in Clark County, you don't have to drive far. And with minimal equipment, you can kind of become a treasure hunter.
Yeah.
And I said, but these guys are serious about it. They actually find stuff that's valuable. And, so there's, from a perspective of there's the person like me and my girlfriends who are looking to do something fun with their kids, something different. That's one end of the spectrum, right up into Kevin and JR, who are very serious about this because you guys find a tremendous amount of valuables, do you not?
Tremendous is pushing it a little bit right now, but we're in the process of making that happen. We would like to, and the big thing is one of the things that I want to get is another a more recent map of the different dirt roads that are out there, so we can see where we're going. And I mean, it's fun exploring dirt roads, but if you get out there on those dirt roads and start exploring and don't have enough gasoline to get back where you came from, or if you get lost out there, that can, especially in this time of year out here in Clark County, that can be, some dangerous situations. But so make sure you know where you're going and what you're doing. But yeah, it's there are plenty of opportunity to find good things out there.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I did a little bit of work out of the claim. And my machines weren't working right, so I packed up early. I went for a little journey around a direction I hadn't been before. And I actually got stuck. I was out all by myself, buried my whole truck all the way down to the axle in a wash. All the way out in the middle of nowhere, 50 miles out in the desert.
Okay, what does one do? Should one bury one's truck all the way up to the axle?
Well,
in dirt.
Like you said, you pray to whatever God you have, and if you're lucky that your phone works, you hope that you get enough reception to call a tow truck if you can't get yourself dug out. I'm lucky I carry shovels and other pieces of wood and stuff like that in my truck, so I was able to give it a good dig out, which took about an hour. So
and you lived.
Yeah, I lived.
And you lived because you're on my show.
It was
you're on my show. You
in
lived.
the evening, so it was pretty hot. It was right in the middle of the sun in a nice hot wash. I dig it all out. I shove a couple pieces of wood under, backed up, and I was out of there 7 o'clock.
That's all right. Now, is there something that you would do for safety? Just in case, does somebody always know where you are, or what do you do there?
I always make sure somebody knows where I'm going and what time I'm going to be home, because if I'm not home within an hour of that time, or calling to say that, hey, I'm on my way home, because I always call as soon as I get cellular reception to say, hey, I'm safe, I'm on the road, and I'm on my way back. Hey, make me some food, please.
I want one of those, hey, make me some food, please. Would that be your lovely wife?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have children?
Yes, 2. Oh. 2 15-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old autistic son.
And do you bring them with you?
She doesn't have much interest in anything but her phone and her friends. So.
Okay, right, I understand.
My son, yes, he's a good little panner. So he loves going out, but he likes to run. So if I get to working, don't pay attention enough to keep him from running off. So he keeps me from going out a lot. I usually just stay home with him, and then when I can get out once or twice a month, I go and do as much as I can.
That is cool.
So, yeah.
That's just really cool. What about you, Kevin? Do you call up and have somebody prepare your food, or do you live with Mrs. Microwave like I do?
No, I live with pull into Mr. Jack and grab something on the way.
Okay. Fast food is your friend, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think we're getting ready for a station break here. I wanted to stop here for a minute and let's just recapture the stuff that I've learned. Yes, you can use a metal detector to get started. Be safe. Let somebody know where you are. Bring plenty of water and what have you. And be sure that you're not playing around on somebody else's claim because, like anything else, they own that and they own all the stuff that comes out of that mine. It's property rights.
Well,
so
we don't own the property itself, but we own the mineral rights. Anybody can do whatever they want on the property, can't do whatever, but it's when they start taking rocks or the minerals that it would make a difference.
well, we don't want to do that. We don't want these guys to be hunting you down. Not that they would. Again, not that they would. But, you know, I want to just cover the idea that, you know, these guys are also opening a camp, and we're going to touch bases about that in our next segment. I wanted to remind you that this is Frances Dean with the Let's Get Started program from Radio Tribune and hosted by the Las Vegas Tribune newspaper. You can find me on Facebook. We would love to have your likes, shares, and comments. You'll know that you found the right one when you find the big red start button. Again, I would love to hear your comments, your questions, and we're going to go out for a station break. Okay. Are we okay so far?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't asked you any of your questions yet. I apologize.
That's okay. Those are in case we need them, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Plus, we've gone to half of them anyhow without
a
being...
minute here, so let's
It's
see the
okay.
next song. Just 1 minute only, or
Yeah,
next
no,
song?
1 minute's good.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same
Okay.
page. Everybody was a little bit nervous,
Okay.
and I wanted to make sure we're okay. Are we okay?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I told you I haven't lost a guest yet.
It'd be pretty hard to get me to storm out of somewhere anyhow.
Oh, but I like people to be comfortable and enjoy the experience. This is something I really like doing. And,
But it's fun.
You know, I can tell that you guys really like what you do too, and I think that's what the synergy to make a good show is. If we both like what we're doing.
Well,
I like
if
being
we
a host.
didn't like going out there doing that, we wouldn't. It's hot out there and it's deadly. It's no fun to be out in that weather when it's horribly hot out there.
It's not
So.
nearly
I
It's just that
enjoy
drive.
nature, whether we're digging and pulling stuff in, or whether I'm just out climbing a mountain. Like
Yeah,
that one
he's
day.
like a mountain goat. We were out by Gas Peak one day. He disappears for
20
5-10
seconds.
minutes, and boom, he's on top of the hill waiting.
5 seconds. 3, 2, you're on.
Hi, welcome back to Let's Get Started with Frances Dean on the Las Vegas Tribune Radio. We're dedicated to making your life better, and today I think we're talking about some fun things to do in Clark County, and I'm talking to two men who really do enjoy the thing that they're doing, which is gold mining, silver mining, and finding precious metals right here in Clark County. I wanted to talk a little bit about North versus South. The North is very well known for having minerals and mines and that kind of thing, and the South not so much that I'm aware of. Am I wrong in assuming that the majority of the mining takes place in the North?
Only as of lately, after around the 1990s, gold did a really big drop in the mid-90s, and a lot of gold companies and silver companies completely quit mining because the overhead was much higher than what they were making from it. So what happened is a lot of the mines down here got forgotten about. a lot of the mines up north got forgotten about also. And the reason so much gold comes out of the north is because that's just where the big companies decide to settle. They could be out in this area very easily. There's a patented mine out in a city called Good Springs, not too far from here. It's called the Boss Mine. It actually holds 234 ounces of gold per ton of ore, which is the richest gold ore that I know of on the earth. It runs in a type of ore called plumbo-jarosite, which is only native to that specific area anywhere in the world. So, if one of those large companies were to contact the owner of that mine, there could be a huge influx of gold, which would cause gold prices to drop drastically. So, keeping a lot of the large producing mines closed now is actually what's keeping the gold prices up high. So, it's a good thing that they aren't working a lot of these mines that are out in this area.
I guess my response to that is, what do you think is high? I mean, $1,800 an ounce is high, but $1,300 an ounce does not a bad profit make.
1,300 is a good profit, but I would love to see it up to 1,800 or higher. That would be wonderful there, because then a profit would be almost double.
I'd be happy if I could go out and find an ounce of gold a day right now.
Oh, that'd be great.
And I'd
with
be
the
hunting right
bobcat and the right
behind you.
machines, we could though.
Well, what is the right machinery? I mean, let's say somebody decides they want to open up their own precious metals mine. What do you need?
Well, it depends on if they're going for a lode mine, which is the hard, solid rock face of the mountain, or if they're going for the placer, which is the eroded, decomposed material that's come down in the washes and rivers. So if they're going for a hard rock, they're going to need lots of permits, big drills. It's going to probably be a few $1 million just to even get started on something like that.
Okay, yeah, no.
That's
let's
not
break
something that
down.
anybody's just going to go and start up with. That's somebody who's already been placer mining that started out pretty much like how we are, and was able to build their placer mine up to a point where they have most of the equipment already to be able to start up with a lode mine, because every placer was fed by some load. So if you're working at placer, you're going to just keep following it back until you find the load, and then once you've found that, you're pretty much going to stay there.
Okay, so what equipment do you need to open a placer mine?
A shovel.
Yeah. Pretty much just
For
a
goodness
shovel.
sakes.
Because the way the old miners used to do it out here, which is why they didn't bring out a lot of gold out here, was they would be out there, 2 men with shovels and a blanket. And they would put a couple of shovelfuls in the blanket and they'd toss it up in the air. And the wind would take the dust and the lights away, which is the same thing as a dry washer does now. But
What's
now,
a dry washer? Stop for a minute. What's a dry washer?
a dry washer it's forced air through a sheet.
Okay.
And the new ones, they don't just force air through a sheet, they also vibrate, which causes the heaviers to level themselves down underneath everything else that's light.
You basically get a machine that has riffles or ridges in it, that the vibrations cause the heavier metals and rocks to settle into the ridges. The lighter stuff will vibrate on across it. You use the air to blow up through the stuff to cause the vibrations, and it actually causes some of the real light dust and stuff to blow off, so it'll go off into the wind. But hopefully what happens with it, if it's set up properly, is when with all your heavies that are left behind in the riffles and the ridges, that's where you're going to find your gold, and you can then take that back and pan it when you've got the water, or dry pan it. There are some videos of some, especially some really experienced miners, who can actually take a pan with no water and can pan off the dirt and get the gold left in the bottom of the pan. It takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of time, but it can be done. But you know, there's your starting point, is a shovel and a gold pan. You know, if you get into the harder dirt, especially out here with the caliche, you may want to bring a pick with you so you can break through the caliche, or break through some of the harder areas and separate some things out. That's your minimum starting stuff. Then, like you said, if you invest in a dry washer, or if you've got the water to run, or you want to build or buy a sluice and set it up in your own front yard or something to do it when you bring the dirt back home, or if you bring enough water with you and you want to try it out, you know, once you get started. Run it out there where you are. There's different ways to do different things, but that's the starting point.
Okay, this sounds so very complicated, and so what I'm going to ask you next, I guess this is the reason why you were talking about opening a camp for people to come and learn? Is that what the purpose of the camp was? is?
Learn
whether it's
or
learning
relax
or you're like you relax, get out into nature. One of the things that I like to do, and this is a little off topic, but I'll bring it back. I enjoy nature when I'm out there as well. I love seeing what else I can find. I love seeing the beautiful views of the different mountains and the different things that I see out there. Whether it's high desert, whether it's some people say, oh, I love going up to Big Bear or into Colorado or wherever to see the big greenery because we don't have a lot of green down here. But, it's different things that wherever you are, where nature is just gorgeous to look at. So one of the things that we try to do is make sure you don't destroy everything around you when you're doing it.
Yeah.
But the camp, there's a couple of different ways to go with this. Is, person that wants to go out with their family or just with themselves and do something to get away from the city and go out and do something, whether it's someone who's just learning, whether it's someone who's done it before and wants to get back into it, wants to meet with people that have the same interest, or whether it's someone who's experienced and wants to check out what it's like in a different area. Any one of those can be welcome to come out and join us at any time.
Even special needs, like autism or Asperger's, or they're welcome also.
So now you don't guarantee results at your camp, right?
No more than God guarantees us results when we go out for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a price point here. What are we looking at in terms of financial commitment? What does it cost to participate in your camp?
That's
We're
something
trying
that
to
we're
figure
still
out
trying
still.
to figure that out. Of course, as gas prices go up, the cost is probably going to go up. But it's where you had a price point that you were looking at right
Yeah.
now that you're
I had
banting about.
I was thinking around $80 a day for one person, and around $120 for a couple.
And that's for
like
a
a
one
family fee
day,
after
or
that. Yeah, that'd be a week. If you do like a week, probably give like 1 day free, just off the week. That way it's like $80 cheaper, just to give people an incentive to stay longer.
so now where is this camp located?
Well, there's actually two. I have one that's actually within the city area that's really hot right now. So even I don't really want to go out there and do
Okay.
too much digging. So I'm not expecting many people to want to go out there.
But
it's
come
perfect.
October, yeah.
Come October, when the weather starts cooling off, it hits 40s down there at night. So if anybody's actually willing to camp in the cold weather and they don't want to go and pay the fees of, say, Mount Charleston, where they want $17-20, where you don't get to do anything, you just get to go hiking. And out here you can dig holes and maybe find gold or silver, and there's no water present or anything like that, no big trees, but
What about
still
in the
beautiful.
north? You were creating an opportunity.
It's it's in the planning stages, and in my mom's family, there's some land up in White Pine County, and it's a ghost town called Osceola, and we're looking at doing something up there. That's the largest nugget in the state of Nevada was found up there many years ago. I believe it was 1877, and in 1877 dollars, it was worth $6,000. I don't know the exact weight of it, but that was quite a find back then.
What's it worth today? Do you have any idea?
You know what? I saw that online this morning, and I forget what the dollar amount. I know
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
sorry
in
for
the
putting
hundreds
you
of
on the-
thousands of dollars, but
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, because $6,000 back in those days was probably 2 to 3 years worth of income, right?
Probably, if not
So-
lifetimes.
That was a tremendous amount of money to happen across then.
right.
So now, in the north, the largest gold nugget was found in your town.
Just outside of the town, in the Osceola mining district.
Cool. So now you're going to have a camp set up there. Or
That's
you
what
have one now.
that's what the plan is to try and do that. We've got to get the approval of all involved, and it's whether we do it off the actual patent property that we have up there, which means it's actually owned land, or whether we do it on one of the claims or something that we have out there. That's what we have to determine what's best for us and how to get it done. But it's a high desert area up there in the mountains, and it's they used to do years ago they did the hydraulic digging out there. That's where they channeled the water in from Mount Wheeler, from the melting glacier, and they used that to would take a hose, a high pressure water hose, and just shoot the side of the mountain with the hose and wash all the dirt down off the mountain, and then they would find the gold that way.
Wow.
That was they called it hydraulic mining. There's not done too much. I don't think it's done at all in the U.S. anymore. But I could be wrong about that.
It's illegal.
Yeah, that's what I thought in
except
the
for
US.
Nevada. It's still legal in Nevada.
It's still legal in Nevada, so you
still
can take your
legal.
garden hose.
Every kind of mining is still legal in Nevada.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about the dredging laws that California and Washington, Oregon and Idaho are all dealing with. And the only reason I can think of that could have anything to do with that would be the big companies. The big mining companies are paying somebody off to leave everybody on.
Well, I want to touch on another cool thing. I've got a little bit of a dark side, and I have to tell you, the idea of spending the night in a ghost town, while eerie and spooky, is very intriguing. So tell me a little bit about your town. There's one guy living there still. He
came in back in late 70s, early 80s, and he's been living up there, and he has his own claim up there that he works up there. I know he had a wife for a while that was up there with him. He's up there by himself now.
What does that say?
That gold is a strong factor.
Yeah, what is that? Golden fever?
Gold fever, yeah.
So he's lived off of the mining up there for all these years. So there's still gold to be found. But the town itself, at one time, it was the county seat of White Pine County back before World War II. With the World War and a couple of fires that happened in the town, there's very little of the town that's even still standing out there. And with the World War II also, when gold was not the mineral of demand, the mining went away for a large part, and that's when the Ely became the county seat of White Pine County.
And so this town still has one guy in it.
And there's one guy that lives there now, and there's the remnants of the old general store is still there, and there's a couple of other outbuildings that are still standing on the other side of the road. There's a cinder block cabin up there that my grandfather built many years ago, and some other stuff out there.
So
But
that sounds like the ideal place if you wanted to go and explore a ghost town.
it was a great
color
place to
paint
get away.
with photographs, and as well bring a shovel and go to this camp. I mean, $80 a day is a very reasonable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Based on the price of gold and the prices of silver. Also, somebody was asking me the question. Nevada also has uranium and platinum minerals as
Yeah.
well. So,
Yeah.
is uranium toxic?
There are different forms of uranium, and now I'm not a physicist, and so don't quote me on this as true knowledge. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's U-35 or something like that is the radioactive uranium. And so, I mean, there's minerals out there that are dangerous. But you can find mercury in the ground.
Yeah.
Mercury is, as many of the older people remember, was in thermometers and rolled
Sure.
around in balls, and people used to play with it. And we've come to find out that that's very dangerous for us. But that's also in the ground in a natural state.
Really?
Yeah. And actually, uranium is usually in the areas of gold because when uranium decays, it decays into either lead or gold.
So now, I guess the other question is, with a professional miner such as either one of you going with you, you would be able to identify this is a good place for gold, that's not a good place for gold, that's uranium, that.
Typically, without a Geiger counter, you can't really tell where
To a certain extent. I mean, there's certain areas that are going to be definitely more likely to produce than others. But there's an old adage in mining that says gold is where you find it. So that means whereas there's like Jared was saying, there's a source of that gold. Now I could have a wash and there could be a ton of gold down at one end, and if the other end there's nothing, that tells me somewhere in between there, even up on a side of the hill, there's something that's leading that gold down there. And so, typically speaking, yes, there are places that are more likely to find it than less likely, and those I will say that JR is probably more knowledgeable at this time than I am on some of that because I'm still relearning a lot of things. But yeah, it's there's a lot to learn and get and figure out.
Yeah.
JR, one of the things that really intrigues me is I cannot imagine just deciding I'm going to be a gold miner now and and doing that. So tell me, how did you get started in this, and how did you decide where you wanted to mine?
Well, my first choice to mine was dredging in Oregon, but I couldn't come up with the funds to build the dredge that I wanted to build, so that went out the window. And then my next idea was to get out to Alaska, so I had a friend that was out there, and he did some footwork for me and found an area for me to claim, and then I posted a claim on that. Ended up he didn't put the post up like he said he was gonna, and then long story short, I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
So now I decided that was over the winter that happened, and I just figured might as well just get started out here in Las Vegas for now, and went, did a little research, found an old abandoned mine, and got started.
I have seen some of the stuff that you have found. Your pictures are amazing.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of confused me was you said this is sterling silver, and
Yeah.
it looked to me like rocks. So it just looked like rocks. And so how do you know whether you have sterling silver? Does gold look like gold when you find it?
Yeah.
And tell me, what are you looking for here?
Well, the only reason I was able to find out that it was sterling silver was because the mine that I'm at that produced the sterling silver was known to produce sterling silver, copper, and gold. But it was a silver mine, and the byproduct was gold. But with the prices of silver now, the byproduct is now the silver, being at $20 an ounce. So there's enough gold there to make a lot more profit than there is out of the silver.
Okay, so tell me, because they really did look like rocks. You
Yeah.
had a half a pan of rocks, and you're telling me that it was sterling silver, and I believe you because you're an expert. But how does it go from being in a rock to being, silverware or jewelry?
That process would be they crush it, and then they add a silver flux to it, and then they bring it up to, I guess, 2,500 degrees and melt all the metal together, and then usually they have to make sterling silver by adding copper to it, but this is naturally already has copper in it, which is a rarity in itself. So they just take it and they melt it, and then they either pour it or they'll make an ingot and then they'll stamp it.
Okay, so here's a really good reason to have one of these two guys with you, or for you to go to their camp, because trust and believe, this stuff look like rocks, and they're valuable rocks. So you'd want someone like Kevin or like JR to help discern the difference between a rock and a sterling silver rock.
Yeah. A rock we like to call those leverite, because you leave it right where you found it. So, which I've had a lot of people that I call them high graders that show up at my claim with their metal detectors, and they'll dig up a couple pieces of sterling silver and they'll crush it and just leave it there in a pile, because they're like, oh, this is nothing.
It's a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it going off on the metal detector? Well, they're not realizing that it's a silver nugget,
Yeah.
because the sterling silver doesn't look like a normal silver nugget would.
Yeah, no, it looks just like a rock.
Yeah. Well, that's the host mineral that the silver comes in, that's still on the silver, that it's never been cleaned off, because they're actually more valuable with that on them than if I were to clean them off, because they have everything still there on them.
If you're digging down, not only do you have the nearby minerals that are attached to it, but when you're digging down, you'll find it in a certain color. Now, as you know, if you've ever had a piece of silver sitting out on your credenza or on a buffet somewhere, it tarnishes. So when you find the silver and you've actually dug it up from being underground, you'll see it at one color. When you leave it, it begins to tarnish because the air's hitting it, so it can become that darker color. So it's tough to discern sometimes.
Wow. Now, you, I don't know, you guys find it, and you know it's precious, and it's silver, gold, or minerals. What do you do with this stuff? What do you do with it?
Currently just collect it and hold on to it, and waiting for values to go up to a point where I can make a higher profit.
And, well, okay, so let's pretend gold is at $3,500 an ounce.
Yeah, I'd sell
What do
everything
you-
I had.
Well,
My My
And
wedding
be out
ring?
there
Gone out
every
the window.
day.
I think
Oh,
what
sorry,
I think
Katie.
where she's going with that is, I mean, there are assay offices where you can take your stuff
What,
in.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Assay.
Okay.
They can
ASSY, isn't it?
ASSAY.
Yeah.
And they can actually tell you what percentages of what you've brought in is what minerals, and they can actually purchase that from you at whatever price they're setting the price at for the purchase at that point. It's kind of like if you've ever watched, the Bering Sea Gold or anything like that, where they bring that gold in, they take it to that guy after they've weighed it, and he tells them how much they're going to give them for it.
So there, who gives you the cash? The assay office is where you get the money for your minerals.
They can be.
Can be. Or a pawn shop. If you melt it down yourself, the gold itself, and you pour it into a small bowl of warm water or heat absorber, you can make small little nuggets and take those to them and sell them that. But they're going to do a little scratch test and do an acid test to find out what the grade is, and then they're going to give you the appropriate value. And it's probably not going to be close to what it should be because pawn shops are there to make money.
Right.
So
Well, you know what, guys? I would like you to, let's start with Kevin. Kevin, let my listening audience, let our listeners figure out or give them the information of how do they get in touch with you? How do they
The
reach out to
easiest
you?
way to get in touch with either one of us, I think, is if they're on Facebook, go to the Empire Gold Mining site that JR has started, or even he just started a new page also.
two club pages, or one club page and two camp pages.
What are their names?
The club page is just Club Empire Gold Mining, which is just pretty much a free chat club where people can meet up with other people to find someone to go out with, or post what they found and brag about what they've done, or whatever. Just as long as you're nice to everybody and you don't start problems, it's all
The
good.
other one is.
So.
What's the other one?
And the other one is first one would be Gold Camp Southern Nevada, which is the local Gold Camp one, which isn't going to be doing much right now. But the one we're talking about today is Gold Camp Osceola, which that one's got a really long name.
Spell Osceola for us.
OSCEOLA.
Okay, and the reason that's important is if any of my listeners would like to reach out and get in touch with you guys because they want to go treasure hunting in a safe manner with not a large investment with tools and they really just want to go out and enjoy mining, I want them to be able to find you. So spell it again. It's Empire Mining.
Empire Gold Mining is the one site. That's the one where you can contact either one of us. J.R. McRorty.
Yep.
And Kevin Njus NJUS. It's kind of the abbreviation like New Jersey, United States. So, but it's we're both right there on that site. We both check it almost daily, if not daily.
Well, now Kevin, give me a 15-second commercial for getting people to come out and mine with you.
15-second commercial.
Okay, you can make it 30 if you want. I know you like to talk.
No, it's it's just a way to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city, to enjoy yourself and possibly find something special and possibly even valuable on your own.
That's awesome. And JR, give a shout out for you.
Well, if anybody is out there that wants to come out to a local area around Las Vegas, there's a lot of local areas to go collect gold. There's pretty much every one of our mountain ranges surrounding Las Vegas holds some type of gold or silver, even platinum and other minerals that are out there. So get a hold of us and we'll take you out.
Well, I really appreciate the two of you coming in here. I don't know if we covered all the different bases that you wanted to cover. I hope that we did. I know I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this conversation. You guys are awesome. I was unsure about, I don't know anything about gold mining. I just know I want to do it. And Todd Hoffman and his crew inspire me every Friday night that they're on, and they're always finding gold and going for gold and all the rest of it. And I don't know that I have gold fever because I've never actually found it, but I can tell you that it's Nevada's been my home for 25 years, and I love everything that this state has to provide for us to enjoy, whether it's gaming, agriculture, or mining. And I think that based on all three prongs, and that being tourism, agriculture, which is mining and farming, or excuse me, ranching and farming, and mining, I think that if we can get all three legs of our economy up, Nevada is going to be one of the strongest states in the entire union. So I would like to again say thank you to both of you for coming and being on my show.
My pleasure.
My pleasure too.
This is the Let's Get Started program, hosted by Radio Tribune and the Las Vegas Tribune newspaper. You can find the Las Vegas Tribune at www.lasvegastribune.com, and the Let's Get Started page has a big red start button on Facebook, and I hope that you'll like, share, and comment. We intend on getting the show podcast in its video form, oh my goodness, up on both the Empire Gold Mining site and on the Let's Get Started page. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in one more time. This is Frances Dean at the Let's Get Started program. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day.
Okay, you're off.
Is my timing
Turn
okay?
off your camera.
Yep, you're good.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna need to say that.
Did
Wow,
you?
right at the last spot, that's beautiful.